And there
My
we go.
video died again. What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know what went on, but I'm sure you'll get it together. You are an engineer, and you
There
could
it is. I'm back.
you'll be
No,
able to
I'm gone
figure
again.
this stuff out pretty cool.
What
You
is
know,
going on?
pretty quick. Pretty quick. I bet you will. I'll bet you figure it out. I have a lot of faith in you. Hey, welcome everybody to the 75th meeting of the SoundBroker RoundTable. A bunch of people in our industry, leaders, people who know what they're doing much more than I do, are here in the room, and we're going to discuss current events and how it affects our industry. And just remember one thing: everything you hear today is an opinion. So make sure that you check your facts. That's all there is to it. And welcome everybody to the meeting. Today, got a lot to talk about. A lot going on in the world, always is. But the thing is, if we look in the room, and we only have a few people in the room today. There are other people that are off camera, but the reality is that people are working again, and that's a good thing. Fred, you were just telling us that you're working.
Yes, I'm in week 8 of my college football deal with Fox, and I'm actually home this weekend. So we'll be at ASU on Saturday. Was in Pullman, Washington last week. Bought a lot of cheese at Ferdinand's.
Are you going to be on Scoville's show this week?
I'm gonna try. I always try to jump in. It just depends on how long our setup, excuse me, how long our setup day is. But since I'm home, I'm sure I'll be there tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah, I would love to join it again, but to wake up 2 days in a row early to be on to be on the Zoom meetings is a little too much for me. But if I can, I love it. So let's just promote it. It's Robert Scoville's Back Lounge. It's a Friday at 4:20 Pacific Coast time. So and you could just Google it and you'll find it, and Robert will send you an invite, I am sure. Anyway, that's really exciting. Also, for those people in our group, a lot of us have gone on to Viome, which is basically a way to check your bacteria on what you eat. So basically, Tom Source was the one who turned us on to it first. Basically, it's made us healthy, thinner, better skin, all those good things. And, for years, people have said, you are what you eat, but Viome says, no, it's not what you eat, it's what your bacteria will digest, and there's billions and billions of bacteria in your body. Anyway, they're having their best deal yet, according to their advertisement. I got an email, and you can get a gut intelligent kit for only $59 when you use the October 20th OCT20 at checkout. And there's a link in the show notes for that if you want to check it out. Just thought I would put that into the show. Also, this week, I guess they made some announcements for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Carole King got in, and Todd Rundgren got in. Has anybody worked with Todd Rundgren in the room? I was fortunate enough, one of my very first real jobs was working for Bearsville Records, which of course Todd Rundgren was an artist on it. And I've got to talk to him. I never got to meet him, but I did get to work on his album. What was the name of that album? Anybody remember? It was his big album. I can't remember it. It's been so long. Years. David, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
And was it the Nas?
No, it was before that.
Before the Nas? That was his first
I
album.
think. Oh, really? Well, then it couldn't have been before, but I don't remember the Nas.
Well, what would
I
say?
remember.
Wasn't that Todd Rundgren?
Could you believe it? Who knows? I should know it because I can. Well, Tina will Google it. What was the? I remember the cover. He had his hands up in the air. It was a white cover. Oh well. Anyway, also on a sadder note, speaking of people that I work with, Herbie Herbert, who is the original manager of Journey and Bill Graham's prodigy, he died at 73 this week, and may he rest in peace. Wow, 73, that's 2 more years. Whenever somebody dies, I always put myself into perspective, whether I was older or younger than them. Does anybody else do that, or is it only me?
Anybody what?
when somebody dies, like let's say, let's just say, for example, in this case, Herbie was 73. I say, well, I'm 70. Well, I've got 2 more years before I can beat him out. Or if somebody dies,
I'm older, so I say I beat him out.
I think I saw that it was 30 years exactly to the day from when Bill Graham's helicopter crashed.
yeah. I have a lot of great experiences with Bill Graham. I have multiple experiences with Bill Graham. I got to meet him quite a few times, and although he didn't always agree with me, especially when I worked for World Stage, about the concept of the beaming to the satellite. I guess we were just a little bit ahead of our time. Wouldn't you say, David?
Oh, that was way ahead of its time.
Yeah. I was very fortunate to work on that project. And by the way, if you want to hear the whole story about that, I'm going to self-promote a little bit. I'm going to be interviewed on Beyond the Backstage Pass on November 4th. Now, the first time I was scheduled to do it 2 weeks ago, they had some technical glitches and they couldn't get the show up. But November 4th, they promised me that everything is going to be perfect. And so that I'm going to be interviewed on November 4th on Beyond the Backstage Pass. And boy, the show is full of promotions today, isn't it?
Those guys are a kick. That's an amazing.
Yeah, Vince is really something else. Vince is really something else. I really like him a lot.
By the way, LL Cool J is also getting put in to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Kevin Smith is there.
Oh, how nice. Kevin Smith and David and I go back, I don't know how many years, but there's a picture of us on the lot, that famous picture from Norman Seeff.
I'm not in that picture.
You're not?
I was out on the road. No, you, Michael Gladstone, Kevin Smith, maybe Kevin Crossley, I don't know.
Yeah, I think when they took the picture, I was leaning down to see if there was a Coke on my in that bottle or just some white powder. I don't remember.
You had a leather suit on, I think.
Yeah, I was wearing that leather jacket that I got at North Beach Leather.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Robert, I guess is mixing the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, I think he is. I think you're right. I think he is. Yep. It's nice. Nice that he's got that gig. So tell me what's going on in California, David. Gas prices are going to top $7.50 a gallon?
Oh, please. You can't believe everything you read. I just filled up. It was $4.80.
Well, you're nowhere near Beverly Hills because I was at Beverly Hills 2 weeks ago. It was $6.89 at the Standard Station across from the hospital.
Well, I filled up this morning actually, so I'm in Hollywood. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think also people that live up in San Francisco are getting killed as well, especially up in the mountain area. I think that's where they're saying that the gas is going to be the most expensive. But that, I mean, if gasoline and petrol go that high and diesel, then all of a sudden the touring aspect of our industry is going to be affected once again because the cost of deliveries and the cost of touring is going to become more expensive.
Yeah. This is also the backlog of everything. So I don't know how long it's going to take, of course, but it'll all come back down again once the backlog disappears.
Yeah.
I just read that the Port of LA is going to start fining companies that don't pick up their trailers, their cargo trailers, and leave them sitting there. They're going to start getting a daily fine, so they get them out of the port.
Yeah, there are so many stories on that right now about what's going on in the backlog in the shipping industry, but I believe that's all coming together right now. I mean, Christmas is about, right now Halloween is coming up. And by the way, speaking of Halloween, Las Vegas was rated the third best city for Halloween. I would assume that West Hollywood or West is it West Hollywood, David?
Yeah, it's West Hollywood. I love it. I go there every year, except last year was canceled, obviously. And unfortunately, so was this year. It's breaking my heart. West Hollywood Halloween is an experience everybody should have. Up to 500,000 people show up. I leave before it gets that crowded, but it's amazing. And the thing about West Hollywood is it's known as a gay town with its own mayor and everything, except if they have 50,000 gay people in West Hollywood, you put 500,000 people in there, it's a straight town. And there are kids and there are hetero couples everywhere. So it's not what people think unless they've been there. I can't recommend it enough. It's a great time.
Yeah. I also recommend, as far as if you want to have a really good time, the Hose and Pimp Ball in Las Vegas. That's once a year, and that is an experience you cannot miss.
What? Hose?
Hose and Pimp's Ball. Yeah.
Is it naked paintball?
No. Nobody's. It's all costume. It's a costume party, basically. But it's pretty intense. Well, it's all sexual-oriented theme, and it's perfect for Las Vegas. It's
What hotel is that at?
I don't believe it's at a hotel, but I think the year before last, I believe it was, though. I believe it was in the ballroom of the Orleans, but I don't remember. Maybe Tina could Google that and let us know where it was. I thought it was by the Hard Rock, a venue by the Hard Rock, but I might be wrong about that. So Tina, maybe you can Google that and let us know where that is, or if you know about it offhand, because it makes the news here. It makes the news every year because it's such an exciting event.
Is the Hard Rock open again? I know it was under construction last time I was at Las Vegas.
Well, the Hard Rock was sold, and now it's, I believe, the Virgin Hotel. But speaking
That's
of going-
correct.
What is correct?
It's the Virgin Hotel now.
Yeah. What about the Hose and Pimp Ball? Where is that?
No,
Does
you're
that
right.
take place-
It took place at New Orleans. They have it over there.
Yep, that's what I thought. Yep.
Yep. It's called the Pimp and Hoe Ball, and all the pimps come in and they have their their pimp gear on and with their pimp cups all decorated out. It's it's an event for them.
Oh yeah, it's a fun event. It is definitely a fun event. If you ever get a chance to go to Las Vegas, I would highly recommend that. Speaking of those kind of things, NASA just announced that we need to talk about what's going to happen when we find life beyond Earth. And although NASA is saying that they've never found any evidence of extraterrestrial life so far, that they should be prepared when that changes. Because after all, many scientists think that alien life is a distinct possibility, if not an outright probability. And I got a link on that as well in the show notes. But I've worked some concerts where I really think there are aliens in the audience. That's for sure. Anybody have any opinion on that?
Well, you got to remember, what's with this me? You got to remember there's billions of planets, suns in our galaxy.
Sound like Carl Sagan there, David.
Billions and billions of planets in our galaxy, and there are billions and billions of galaxies. So, of course, there's older planets than ours that have had longer time for them to civilize themselves and invent things. It's far away, but they're out there.
What was that word he came up with? Googleplex?
What word?
It was the word with the most zeros anybody had ever heard of.
Oh,
I forget what I thought it was called, a Googleplex.
Well, it could be. Hey, welcome, Steve. New Orleans, our reporter from New Orleans.
Hey, man.
I think he's got his granddaughter with him, his brand new granddaughter.
She
Congratulations.
just left. No, the new one wasn't here. But Hannah just left.
You're looking good, man. You're looking good. You're looking really good.
I don't feel like it.
It looks like you got a good batch of fish.
Yeah. Caught a few this weekend, but not too many. Not enough.
Never enough, right? Never enough. But
Nope.
don't they have a limit on what you could do?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so let's see. How do we go from extraterrestrials to Apple is being sued in China for selling iPhones without a charger? And now that's becoming big because Brazil's moving in on the action. So eventually, there's going to be a lot of different actions against Apple for selling a phone without a charger. It just seems though so crazy. I mean, I have so many chargers already. But I guess anybody must have. I
But
mean,
the
am I
newer,
unique in that?
the newer the phone, the more high speed your charger has to be. So most of your chargers are obsolete. They're good for, a headset maybe, but not for a new modern phone with a big battery.
That, and didn't most of the world, other than us, make USB-C a standard? Or they're trying to.
That's the other thing. They
So a
want-
USB-A charger isn't going to do you any good.
Plus, they're suing Apple for that too. That Europe is saying they have to have a USB-C charger now, and Apple has to deal with that. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, like Kurt, I'm sure all gamble boards come with a power supply, right? That's it.
Yes, they do.
I'm sure if Jim didn't put that in the box, there would be some lawsuits there, right? For sure, So, hey, by the way, I know you do a lot of gamble, the gamble consoles. What is the story on parts for those? What's the story on parts for gamble boards? Is it easy to come by?
Well, there's not a whole lot that could go wrong in them in the first place, and they're built very, very well. So the one I just redid, I had a couple faders to replace, and that was mostly because they were oddballs. There were a couple of cell marks in there instead of the PNGs. So, and all the pots, everything is sealed. Story was that Jim was in the Navy, and everything he had to fix was because of moisture, and that and capacitors. So there's hardly any capacitors anywhere in the console, and every pot is completely sealed. So the only thing, there's just not a lot that could go wrong unless you somehow dump incorrect voltage into it or spill something on it. But I mean, in number 38, I replaced 4 faders and just cleaned everything and a few solder points. But there really wasn't any parts issue. I know that there was a big stockpile of parts that had left Crest when they finished their part of it, and I think Derek got a bunch of them. Big Fox had it, so I think Derek has most of them. But a lot of the parts are still something you can get, but I don't think you need them that much, to tell you the truth.
Well, Kurt, 2 things. Number one, for those people who don't know what we're talking about, what actually is a gamble board?
Jim Gamble, associates out of Tahoe, designed and built I would argue, the best sounding live consoles ever built.
And this was this year he designed it, or when was this?
No, a while back. I think the EX first came out in 88, maybe 89. Before that was the HC40, which is what this is. And there were a few models kind of prior to that, and that go all the way back to the Type Grade Blue boards, as far as the lineage goes. But it's
and that's why it makes it so spectacular, is the fact that the board is 25, 30 years old, and it's still applicable and usable today.
It still sounds better than any console out there, including the Midas and any digital board you could possibly buy.
And you told me something very interesting offline about your Facebook group.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to blow up like it has. I thought there'd be 50, 20 people on it, and there's 350 people on it now.
And how did they find it? How do people find it?
How did they, or how do they?
How do they?
How do they? It's Gamble console users. It's a Facebook group. And there's some pretty heavy hitters.
Today we're full of promotions today.
Promotion Wednesday, I guess.
Promotional
It's been
day.
fun. I didn't expect it to kind of take off like it did. And it's been great to see, Jim himself in there, and a lot of people who maybe haven't really talked to each other in 10, 20 years, kind of reconnecting and cool old stories.
You've given me an idea. I think because, one of the things that's the hardest thing right now to find, and just a little self-promotion here, is Avid parts for the profile. It seems Avid has discontinued that and no service. And so it's really, I've been scrambling to find certain parts. I bought a lot of parts. I as a matter of fact, towards the end of the life cycle of the profile, I bought a lot of profiles. And instead of selling them all, I started taking them apart and selling them for parts. Excuse me. But now I am running low on faders. And it turns out that that Alps, who made the faders, I've contacted them directly. Avid no longer has any faders to sell, so or they won't sell them, which is kind of interesting because all of these people that, and this is my opinion, all of the people that own profiles, and there's hundreds of them out there, hundreds, are all now. What do? Now we just have a doorstop. That's not fair.
Yeah, I've got 5 or 6 spare faders lying still, but I've had to replace way more parts, faders, communication cards, potentiometers, contact switches, all that kind of stuff in my profile, way more than I had to do the complete rebuild of the EX. And it's 30 years newer.
Yep. Anyway, jumping, but I think I might start an Avid profile part Facebook page. That might be a good idea, and I think I might do it. So
where were the first EXs built? I have to answer a question so I can join.
Oh, 1 through 6 are built in Jim's shop at his house in Tahoe, and from 7 on, they were all built in the press factory.
Now, was Kevin Korecki involved in the first boards?
Oh yeah, he's involved in all of it heavily.
Yeah, what a man!
Kevin and Dirk were instrumental in the whole thing with Jim.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been great to become, friends, I guess, with those guys. I didn't really expect all of that, but they call me up. We talk about recipes and gardens and stuff too. It's not all just audio. It's been a really great experience all the way around.
Yeah. Is Kevin part of your group? Because I don't think he's big on social media.
He is, but he doesn't post that much.
Yep.
He's in there though. I call him when I want to talk to him more than anything else.
So, anyway, moving along, it turns out that Uber is going to make a purchase or lease 50,000 Teslas as it moves to an all-electric fleet. But I'm confused about that. Maybe somebody in the room could help me on my confusion. But I thought the individual drivers provided their own cars.
I saw that Hertz just bought a bunch of them. I didn't know about Uber.
Yeah, Hertz bought 100,000.
Well, 100,000. That's a lot of cars. That's why Elon Musk right now is the richest man in the world.
All the rental car companies sold everything off, which is the only way they could generate the revenue during the pandemic and the travel drop. I mean, last time I tried to get a car at the airport, they literally blew none. When they have to replace their fleet, it makes sense to replace the fleet with something new, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have that problem here in Thailand. I rented what's equivalent to a Camry. It's called a Vios, and it's costing me $250 a month with insurance. So that is a little bit different, but it is going to go up. It is going to go up a little bit now that Thailand is opening up. I mean, all countries seem now to be opening up to travel, which is interesting, because all of a sudden it's like flipping a switch, and here we go. And it seems that COVID is not completely under control by any stretch of the imagination, and yet everybody seems to be now in a desire to move faster to open up. So hopefully that'll work out really well. I mean, we're all busy, we're all working, which is great. Everybody's working, and we all got shows, and we're all staying busy, which is really wonderful. It's great. That's why so many people can't make it today, because they are working. So for those people that are working, congratulations, and for those people that are here, I really thank you a lot. Otherwise, it would just be me reading the news, and it would be a lot, it would go by a lot faster. Then again, I might start waxing philosophically even more. So here's an interesting story in case you didn't know this. On July 16th, the FCC adopted rules to establish 988. So I guess there's 411, there's 611, there's 311 in certain marketplaces, and now on a national level, there's 988. It's a 3-digit phone number for Americans in crisis to connect with suicide prevention and a mental health counselor. Has anybody tried that?
Suicide? No.
No, not suicide. Testing to see if the 988 never really works.
You just told me about it.
Well, there you go. Now you know. That's it. That's a hot new item. It just happened, and the reason I know about it is because my phone carrier, which is a VoIP carrier, it's called Nextiva. They sent us an email that now we have to dial all phone numbers, even local numbers, with the 10 digits. So you have to add the area code. So that's.
David, I think your microphone just went up there. It's got somebody's putting a buzz in there, and I only see David and Jan open.
Yeah, David seems to be having some problems today with his
Not me.
with his computer. Anyway, moving along.
It
Did
looks
you
like
know?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you guys know that they're cloning pets? People can get their pets cloned. It seems like it's making great strides and advancements. I just don't understand that. It's like I know so many people that have dogs, and when the dog passes after them being with them some 10 to 14, 15 years, they immediately rush out and get another dog. It just seems strange to me that you don't live with the loss at all. You just say, oh, well, I'm going to get another one. I wonder why people don't do that with people. In other words, you lose somebody, you say, well, I'll adopt another father, I'll adopt another mother, just find somebody out there, kid, whatever. Anybody have any opinions on that?
Yeah, there are people who want a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and they constantly have one. I had a cousin who his wife died. My cousin died, and he was the kind of guy who needed to have somebody in his life, so he did quickly. And some of his friends were, a little critical of him that he went so quickly. He says, "I just like to have somebody in my life with me." So he didn't adopt somebody, but he ended up spending time with somebody.
We waited almost a year just because I grew up in the country, and I knew that my wife's always been a city girl, so I made her wait a year before she actually found a couple of beagles on a rescue site in San Diego, and we have beagles now, but we had a lab before.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that will be an unknown question. I don't know if I would ever get a pet cloned. I mean, I loved my dog before he passed, and great dog, absolutely lucky. As a matter of fact, it's the logo of my company. You can see the logo of my company. But I don't know if I would have him cloned and have a duplicate dog.
Well, it's not going to have the same personality. That part's going to be different. He's just going to look the same. So don't expect miracles.
And he could have turned out to be Cujo.
Yeah. Now, I wonder if you can clone yourself as a younger person, and then you would live forever if that was the case. Interesting. Interesting. I heard that I know this is kind of weird, but cryogenics, right? Wasn't there what was that famous baseball player that wanted to be frozen and then his wife unplugged him or something like that? Was it some? Oh, we digress from the industry news, how that would be. Let's see, what else could we talk about? Andrew Bocelli has now announced that he's going back on the road. I believe he's already on the road making big bucks and selling out everywhere he goes. Billy Idol is going to go back on the road. The Go-Go's are going to go back out on the road. Those are shows that I heard about. All sorts of shows in Las Vegas going on right now. An interesting thing, and we talked about this once before, but David, I know you know about this, and that's the Questlove created a musical document masterpiece with the Summer of Soul. Right?
Yep.
And so I believe that, basically that had disappeared since 1969. Nobody even knew about it, or hardly anybody knew it. And now there's a great documentary and a movie. Did you get to see it?
I saw it and I read about it. Actually, what happened is that the producer did the recordings. He did video multi-track recordings and left them in his garage, but people knew about it. And some people wrote magazine articles about it, and there was some sort of short video made about it. But basically, it was ignored for all those years. And then Questlove found out about it and put it into an award-winning documentary that's just incredible. Stevie Wonder at 18 years old, Sly and the Family Stone at the peak of their cognitive powers. I mean, it's an amazing show.
It is an incredible film.
Yeah.
Do you know where it's playing? Is it on Netflix? Where is it?
I think
How could I see it? Because I haven't seen
Hulu.
Hulu?
It's on Hulu.
So I don't have Hulu. I have Amazon Prime. I have Apple TV because they gave that to you when I bought something that they gave you that for another year. They gave me that, and I have Netflix. Oh, and I also have Disney Plus. I mean, how many of these can you have?
Well, everything you mentioned in Hulu kind of fills it all in, except for HBO Max. That's another one. But you should be able to find it at some point. It's been out a year now, or close to a year.
Yeah, it's on other places. I believe you'll be able to find it someplace.
So basically, us cable cutters, I tried to, when I was living in Las Vegas, I was paying something like $180 a month to watch TV and also have internet. And of course, they made me have a phone as well, which, who uses a home phone these days? And it just seems like now that I've cut the cable, it's all of a sudden, it's even getting more expensive right now because I want to have all these different services. And the interesting thing is a lot of the services are different from when I'm here in Thailand. You can't really see everything that you would see in the United States. And the carriers, such as like YouTube TV, have gotten very slick, and they figured out about the VPNs, and it's a cat and mouse game with the VPN servers and YouTube and all sorts of other aspects of TV. Like when I turn on Netflix seems to know I'm in Thailand, so they show me the top 10 things that are running in Thailand. Now, I don't know what's in the United States running because I only get the Thailand version of Netflix. Has anybody experienced that?
No, we're here. But have you gotten to Squid Game yet?
Oh my God. I couldn't understand that. I didn't understand why that's the number one show out there right now. Can anybody tell me why Squid Games is so popular?
But to me, it's the twists and turns. But no, I can't.
I mean, has anybody seen the Squid Games other than David and myself?
I seen it, Jan. I watched it.
Yeah, what do you think?
Oh, I loved it. I couldn't believe when I realized that old man who was in there is actually his father.
Don't tell anybody.
Spoiler alert.
Well, nobody will figure it out unless you watch it carefully. But
no spoiler alerts. No,
I'm not spoiling. I'm just saying the old man is the father of the guy. If you've seen it, if you didn't realize it.
Oh, I didn't realize that, but it doesn't make a difference. I just couldn't understand, with all the murders that happen. I mean, if you don't understand that, basically, it starts with this guy being slapped in the face, and if you win, he'll give you money, and if he wins, he slaps you in the face, It's like, but then of course it gets into where they're killing each other for money. I mean, and basically the winner, and it just seemed to me the concept was crazy in regards to what people would really do for money. I mean, I guess that's really what it comes down to. I guess that's the whole concept. Would you die in an attempt to becoming a millionaire?
Well, every one of these people had such money problems that they were about to die anyway. I mean, they had the mob coming after them, and they just needed money. And so, and by the way, the whatever there was in Korean won, it was about $43 million was the first prize.
Yeah. The other thing was that I found disturbing about that show was that all the characters seemed to be despicable to me. They were just like not nice people.
The whole thing's about greed. So, you
Yeah.
know.
So anyway, there you have it. So does everybody have everybody? I mean, do you have Hulu too, David?
Yeah. Well, I have Myrna. So my wife,
Myrna TV. You have
my
Myrna
wife's
TV.
talent
That's something
manager.
I haven't gotten yet.
My wife's a talent manager for kids, so she's got to have everything. So we have everything. She's got to be able to see them when their show comes on. So, you know, I'm the plus one. You know, I sit here and get all the benefits of her
Very, very nice.
services.
So, Steve, what do you have?
We have Disney Plus and Hulu and just basic cable here. So we hadn't cut the cord completely, but we have a couple other things. But I'm gonna have to go, guys. I got a fire to put out, basically.
All right. Well, good luck. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming
man.
today.
All right.
Wayne, although Wayne will never replace you, Wayne is in the room, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne has arrived. And so,
Good morning, all, or good afternoon, all,
hey,
wherever it
Jeff
is.
Kelty's in the room, too. Unbelievable, with one F. Haven't seen him in a while. Do you know, Fred, do you know Jeff? You guys are basically more or less in the same business.
I don't know if I know Jeff or not.
Yeah. Where he does the UTA sports, and you do the college football.
Yeah, most of our stuff is pro stuff, mid-level and high-level pro.
Oh, that Jeff. Oh, now I see his face. Jeff is the Zoom test kitchen guy.
Nope, different Jeff. That is a Jeff that spells it wrong. He spells it with two F's.
Yeah, the nerve
Though
of that
we
guy.
kind of look alike, he does not know how to spell his name. So, no, I do a lot of stuff in the cloud, but we are pretty big in Zoom too, but not as Zoom-ish meeting-wise. We do. We work. One of our clients is like Tony Robbins and Worry Studios in Vegas. So it's the big Zoom walls and stuff like that they made popular.
But you were doing sports. You're still doing the tennis circuit, right?
Yeah, we finally got back. Matter of fact, we just finished another day of it in Vegas. Actually, right around your corner, Jen. And I may end up being back there again this weekend. It turns out.
Well, I have a house for rent. No, I'm only kidding.
But I would have taken you up on it last weekend with EDC in town. It was nuts, and man,
Yeah.
they sold out. There were like no rooms available. Luckily I was able to get my guys in at a different place because our rates went from $36 to $299. Same hotel room. Yeah, they were raping people there. All supply and demand, but they were selling out. That was the thing. Selling out.
A friend of ours' grandson, Jen, Shimon's grandson, was like the top DJ or one of the top DJs in that.
Oh, really?
He's raking in the bucks. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How much he's
Do you
making.
remember his name? I forgot his name.
Elau. E-L-A-U. Or 3-Lau. 3-L-A-U. Because his name is Blau. So he made the B into a 3 and called himself Elau. But he sold an NFT of his own music. Now, you know what NFTs are, right? He auctioned off his NFTs and made $11 million in 4 hours. Unbelievable how much money this kid is making, and he's 23.
I don't. I know what an NFT is, but I don't understand why anybody would buy it.
People with too much money, that's who they are. It's just knowing that there are people who have too much money, that they don't know what to do with it, so they buy stuff
that only they have access to. It seems like, in the old days, I always thought that cocaine was God's way of saying you have too much money, but I guess now it's NFTs.
The thing about an NFT is anybody can have it, but you can say you own it. So it's not like you're the only one who has access to it. You're the only one who can say I own it. But other people can have it too. That's the part that makes it so crazy. You know, you can own the photograph that's out in the public domain, but you own the photograph. That happened to a little girl. I can't remember the story, but she was in a commercial or something, and it was the picture of a little girl in front of a burning house, turning around and looking at Daddy, taking the picture like, "Oh yeah, I did that," and it went global. She sold that for hundreds of thousands of dollars, or her dad sold it. And yet it was all over the web. So NFTs don't make a lot of sense to me.
And damn, I've got to work for a living. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, well. Well, some people might not call it work, but I do. But I do. Anyway, I was going to say, one other point I want to make. Costco just raised their minimum wage to $17 an hour. So I would say that that's pretty cool in regards to that. Might affect us in the industry to find more labor if people are working for Costco with all sorts of benefits and getting $17 an hour. So, is anybody experiencing any kind of labor problems, or everything working out well?
I'm getting more work because of labor problems. So it's good for me.
Having a hard time finding people. Actually,
It's hard to find people.
A lot of emails the last couple of weeks just looking for vaccinated people. That's the biggest thing, is that they don't want to. The people that aren't getting vaccinated are not, they're not coming back.
I had a show a couple weeks ago where we were waiting to fly the PA in the morning, and we're all standing around wondering where the uprigger is. And after about an hour and a half, the promoter comes in and says that the building wouldn't let him in. That we didn't have proof of vax. So we were 2.5 hours behind flying the PA because the guy that answered the call couldn't do it.
We're having the same problem with one of the truck drivers for Mobile TV Group. The B unit driver is a freelancer, and he won't get vaccinated, so he can't come onto the college campuses. So he has to drop the truck somewhere off-site. The truck driver has to disconnect the A unit, go pick up the B unit, go get it, bring it onto the site. At the end of the night, he has to take the B unit off-site, drop it, come back and get the A unit, and go to the next city.
It's not like you can even replace a truck driver right now, because there's a bigger demand on those than there is for any of our people too.
You can't find those guys anywhere.
Yeah, it seems like trucking and even FedEx has been slower than normal. We just had a situation where they thought they had lost something, and then they found it, but it just, transportation, it seems that we can't seem to get a confirmed pickup date anymore, where we might say, well, it's going to be picked up on Monday, but sometimes it just doesn't get picked up till Thursday. I mean, I've got a situation where I'm bringing a stage into the United States. It was supposed to be picked up 2 weeks ago, and I just found out that the guy can't make it now till next week.
One of the other problems, I guess, that the truckers are having is because of the semiconductor problems, the sensor for the DEF, the stuff that they have to mix with the stuff, those sensors, nobody can get them, and so the trucks are sitting in yards waiting for the parts to replace that sensor. It's like an oxygen sensor, but it's supposed to monitor that DEF.
Without that, they just stop. It's like, nope, you don't have DEF. You're bad. Stop.
Yeah.
All my diesels are all pre 06, 08. So I'm pre EGR and not necessarily rolling coal all the time, but I don't have to worry about having all those extra little gotchas. So we rented a truck that had the DEF in it, and sure enough, we got down to the end of it, and it was like, you have 5 miles left. You better fill it up, or you're going to stop. It was flashing all kind of stuff on the dash.
Now, have you seen diesel car? By the way,
Yes. Holy crap.
this picture you're looking at right now of me is basically the view that I have outside my new window. It's not that it's a new window; it's a new place. I moved from the east side of the island to the west side of the island, and what you're looking at is basically the Indian Ocean. That is the Bay of Phuket.
I thought you went the other way. I thought you went west to east.
No, I went east to west. But over here, we're in the east anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. I'm still on the east, but I'm on the west coast of the. No, wait, you're right. I'm on the east coast. That's right. I moved from the west to the east.
Right.
Inscrutable, but it's beautiful out. And as you guys can see, the sun is just coming up, and it's kind of hazy out. So I just thought I would share that view. And so somehow, whenever things seem to get depressing, I just look out the window, and I'm pretty fortunate that I've got the view that I've got the view. That's all I can say. I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky. So anyway, Jeff, I have a question for you. As you know, I play a lot of pickleball, and I know you do the tennis. Are you hearing anything more about pickleball and what's happening as far as its popularity in broadcast?
It's been exploding, and actually, they was it APP? Is that right? I think that's the Association of Professional Pickleball. They recently inked a deal with. It was not too long ago, maybe a month ago, that they actually were on Tennis Channel. They were picked up to do on Tennis Channel a whole day of their finals. They were broadcasting that from the USTA campus, actually, in Orlando. And it turned out pretty good. I mean, for me as a broadcaster, I'm not impressed by some of the work whoever's doing it. It's just they don't have it's not like everybody's kind of doing their own thing. There's no accepted norm yet. But they're definitely getting a lot of press that I'm seeing, and I think it's definitely picking up. I know the big one coming up is in Indian Wells, and they have like 26 courts there, and they flip them all to pickleball, like completely drill holes in the courts, string up new stuff. They basically cut up every tennis court to 2 pickleball courts, and they do a massive overhaul for all those courts just for that one tournament. So there's somebody paying for it.
Which is kind of interesting because I don't see where the money's coming from in that respect. There's not really that big of endorsements yet. And most of the tournaments that I've gone and see, it's been free to get in. I don't know what you would pay to go see it. It seems, I play the game, and I would say I'm a good player. I'm 70, so I can't move as fast as some of the younger guys. But it just seems that no matter how good a player is, and how much better than me that they are, even at pro quality level, I still get points off of them. Whereas if I would play Roger Federer or Nadal or Tsitsipas or anybody of the tennis players, I wouldn't be able to return a ball. I wouldn't be able to hit anything that they'd hit. But with pickleball, I can compete. So it just seems to me that why would people want to pay to watch something that they can play themselves with these people? That's where my confusion
It's just
comes
because it's like any sport. It's any sport that has the higher end people, the more skills they have, they want to be like them. So they're going to want to watch it to try to pick up those skill sets. Yeah. I mean, right now, one of my clients is doing platform tennis, which is another variation of pickleball. It is weird. They're playing in like a cage. So it's like a cage match of tennis and pickleball. So they play it's almost a cross between pickleball and racquetball. Very similar.
But they use guns with real bullets, like Alec Baldwin.
They should, but no, they're throwing balls at each other and paddles and stuff. But he's doing pretty well with that, and I mean, there's like 500, 600 people watching on his web streams. That's not. I mean, I'm like, what is this sport? But people are watching it and they're loving it. He's doing 3 courts. He's broadcasting 3 courts. And he'll end up with 400 or 500 on every court, which. One of them's just the 2 of them are just one camera, and I'm like, really? But it's what they got, and they're watching it. So, but they're not getting big money. They're not getting huge sponsorships, little ones here and there. But I think there's a lot of opportunity there too. These niche type sports are where, just like, I mean, I'm doing tennis, but I'm doing professional tennis, but I'm doing the minor leagues of tennis, the Challenger Circuit, and then a few of the 250s and 500s. But when we're doing broadcasts with them, it's a whole nother level at that point. But our minor league stuff, our Challenger stuff, there's no money behind it. It's all betting money is what's paying for it all. And we just signed a new contract with them, so we'll be doing that for next few years. It looks like. Finally.
Just watched Battle of the Sexes on the way back from Washington last weekend. The Billie Jean King.
Yeah.
That was hysterical.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, one of the best movies about tennis. Well, there's two. One's about to come out, and it's with Will Smith, and it's the whole Serena and Venus story. So that should be really good for the business. But the other one is on HBO, and it is a total farce on the longest match ever played, and it's with who's that? Andy. He's on the
Andy
Brooklyn
Sandler?
911 or not? Yeah, Brooklyn 99 or whatever it is. He's on that show, and yeah, it is hilarious. If you ever want to waste 45 minutes of your life, it is the perfect time to waste. It is
that's funny.
really, really funny.
Wasn't that movie the Royal Tenenbaums or something? Didn't that have something to do with tennis as well?
I never saw it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Now, Match Point, Woody Allen's movie Match Point was about tennis, which was pretty. I mean, it was, the whole thing about that movie is that anything can change in a second, and which is true. I mean, basically, it's why I always say we can't control what happens to us. We can only control how we react to what happens to us. But if you've never seen Match Point, and you can get past the fact that it's a Woody Allen movie, it's really good. It's an excellent movie in that respect. But do you remember the name of that the takeoff of it? Because that was the Federer Nadal match, I believe, at Wimbledon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
7 Days in Hell, somebody just posted.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It is. It's funny. It's not a family film. Let me just put it out there. But it is funny. It is really funny, especially for those of us that are in the business around all that. They make some pretty good gut punches at a lot of the stupid stuff that happens in tennis, which is quite a bit.
It's the Spinal Tap of tennis.
Yeah, yes, it's very much like that. Yeah, very much. Now, you mentioned diesel, Jan. Has anybody else seen diesel prices just jump through the roof in the last month?
I'm hearing that they're going up. I'm hearing all petrol prices are going up.
Yeah, I couldn't believe. Well, we traveled to California, so of course everything's plus on California. But man, I couldn't believe it. Was it Yuma? I think we stopped on the way down 10 or 8 and topped up, and then I had to fill up while we were in California because we moved around too much and from San Diego, and I was like, it was almost $600 to fill up. Driving a big truck. So,
Now, how much was it normally? Because what I was saying earlier was the fact is that that's going to affect our industry because it affects the bottom line. If you're renting your truck out, you have to figure in petrol costs as well now.
Yeah, and it's a variable that we can't control nor predict. Either way.
Yeah, we were talking about a little bit about that before you jumped in. I was over at Cedars-Sinai a couple weeks ago, and the standard station across from the hospital, I think gas was $6.80, and I think diesel was actually a little more than that a gallon.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
Well, I
there's a
enjoy
good
driving
app
my
called
Tesla.
there's a good app called Gas Buddy, and that's user sponsored. Whereas basically you put in the prices of the gas that you're filling up, and everybody has access to that. So that way you go to Gas Buddy and you see where the best prices are for gas in your within your radius of where you are. So there you
I
go.
use
Another self promotion.
iExit when we're on the interstate. iExit, and it'll tell you what's coming up at every exit. Only interstates though, and it'll also track the fuel costs, and you can monitor it and figure out, like, oh, this one's really good. The only problem is when you're driving a 45-foot bus is, do I have space to get in there? So you have to look out for truck stops and stuff like that. And even our our vans, our broadcast vans that are extra tall, extra long, we've had a few times where it was tough to get into places because they're just not made for us. So I'm worried about the place like Gas Buddy. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out of my way 20 miles to find a better cause for, I'm losing that time, and that time's more valuable for us most of the time. But in the bus, I tried to play those app games before, and then they have a smaller nozzle that takes 4 hours to fill up because it won't pump enough fuel at once. But when you're filling up something that's 200 gallons, it's good to save that time, but save that money. But sometimes time is money too.
Well, yep, time is definitely money. Anyway, speaking of time, we basically have gone through the full hour that we were allotted here on Facebook and YouTube, although we could go forever. But we're going to say goodbye to those people on Facebook and YouTube. But before we do, is there anybody in the room that wants to say something or bring something up that we haven't covered that they'd like to?
You briefly touched on the Alec Baldwin thing. Is there any? I read something today. There's no video of the actual event, but is there any more news on that? What's going on?
Is that because the woman who was shooting it got shot?
I don't think it was actually a real take. I think they were just rehearsing.
I heard on the radio that some of the props people were bored and took the guns out into the desert to shoot at beer cans and stuff to pass the time, and they brought them back.
They supposedly found multiple live rounds on the set of the thing I read today, and I'm just thinking to myself, why would there even be any live rounds on a set? There was some YouTube guy I saw the other day. He used his finger and he photoshopped in, the flashes and stuff. He goes, "Why do you even need blanks? You don't need any of that stuff today. It's all Foleyed anyway."
Yeah, I would think so. And I read also that they have certain prop guns that just are digital, where they trigger to the Foley. My understanding is that they don't even have any bullets in it. So, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, but to shoot two people on a set, and that the director of photography, she was on the way to having some greatness, even though she was shooting an Alec Baldwin film. But they were saying that she had a promising career.
Somebody just dropped a thing in the chat from CNN, so I'm looking at that.
While we're doing that, has anybody seen the new James Bond movie?
Yes.
And anybody have any opinions on that?
Excellent movie. One of the best.
There will not be another one.
There will
There might
not
be another one with Daniel Craig, but that franchise is too valuable for them not to have another James Bond.
No, I mean, there will not be another one with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. He's done.
He's gone.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, he's done 5 of them already, basically, and I'm sure he must be tired of being, evaluated next to Sean Connery, So,
Yep.
what can I say?
They did a good job.
Anybody else? What about Dune? Did anybody see Dune?
Yeah, I saw it last night.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, I read the books when I was young, and so what I remembered, what I didn't remember, and I read a little bit of a review, kind of brought me back to what I should remember, and then as I'm watching the movie, I'm remembering more. It's an amazing film. The set, the costumes, the special effects, the story. It's great. It's really good. There's a reason why they officially announced the sequel is coming, because it was filmed as one of 2 movies, but they wouldn't approve the second one until they saw how the first one did, and it did so well that they're now doing the second one, and I can't wait for it. It was really well done.
So is this a remake of the one from a few years ago? Because I tried to watch the one from a few years ago. I didn't understand it. I couldn't get through it. It didn't make sense.
That was Kyle MacLachlan, or whatever his name is, from 1984, and that was a mess. Nobody liked that. No fans of Frank Herbert liked that movie, but this one is pretty good.
So is it the same story? Just
yeah, it's the same book. There were 6 books, And this movie is mostly book one. Even though they're talking about only two films, so that would cover maybe the first and most of the second book. The potential is there for, or Lord of the Rings, 6 books, 6 movies, 7 movies. But this director filmed it thinking there's just 2 of them. The story will end. The story doesn't end at the end of the movie 1. It's a wait for the next one to come out in 2 years. So don't think that you're walking out of the theater saying that was great. I'm finished. You walk out of the theater saying I was great, and when the hell are they bringing me the next one? Because it was good. I loved it, and I saw it on Dolby in a Dolby theater, so I had really great sound and a great black and white. I mean, blacks were blacker, that kind of thing. I loved it. If you don't know Dune at all, what do they call it? The cheat sheets would be good to give you the story, just because it's so involved.
Hopefully, when I go see it, it won't be like when we went and saw the James Bond movie last week. They had the subtitles turned on, and it drove me to closed captioning turned on. Because theaters, they don't show you on a real projector anymore. It's all digital cinema. And my friend asked me, he says, why wouldn't they pan the camera? Is it all jittery? And I said, because it's video. It's not film anymore. So it was unfortunate that the closed captioning was turned on, but it is what it is.
Well, when you buy your tickets, some of them say closed captions, so you know not to go to that one. I mean, I went to AMC and it was showing in 3 theaters or 4 theaters. Each one, it was in IMAX, it was in digital, Dolby, it was in regular theaters, and it was in subtitles. So do your due diligence. Don't get stuck again.
Well, if you've never been to Thailand, one of the highlights of Thailand is the movie theaters here, and they are you've never seen anything like it in the United States. As a matter of fact, they have a movie ticket at the theater that I went to, which was basically, I believe it was 5,000 baht. 5,000 baht. That's basically $150. But you sit in an area where they feed you and they give you all the drinks you could have, and it's luxurious. And you're watching the movie. You're watching a movie from basically the couches and gorgeous couches. I mean, just beautiful furniture with a. Then there's a buffet as well, and I'm sure they even have some guy with a bucket that comes up to you, so you don't have to leave the seat if you have to use the bathroom. It's pretty impressive. By the way, as you see the sun coming up, you can see more of what I'm looking at when I look out the window. So just thought I'd share that with you. Is there anybody else that has anything that they want to say before we say goodbye to the people?
Yeah, I would never go to a movie theater where they're serving food. Who wants people walking in front of me when I'm watching a movie? That's the last thing.
No. It's not in front of you. They have a special section. It's really done well, and nobody bothers you. It's like a party. It's a party. And the reason I know about this because one of my friends, his girlfriend was not vaccinated because she lives in Bangkok and she's been here on Phuket, and Phuket, of course, was the sandbox, so there was very little, very, very, very little COVID here. And so he felt that it would be safer to keep her away from the rest. So basically, it was just him and her in this one room. It was just the catered event to watch a movie. He said it was amazing. So anyway, if there's nobody else that has anything that they want to say, then I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on Facebook and YouTube. So this will be your last chance. Anybody? Anything at all? That's it. All right, people on Facebook and YouTube, thanks for watching. Of course, remember everything you heard here was an opinion, so do your own research. We will all wish you to be safe and happy, and remember, you make it happen, so stay safe and stay happy, and we'll see you again next week, 4 p.m. Las Vegas time. And with that, take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you